Welcome to AUDL Weekly. My name is Evan Lepler, and you have discovered the show all about ultimate stories, perspectives, conversations, and more. First episode of June, as the AUDL season should really be heating up over the next few weeks. This coming weekend, the first of the season, where all 25 teams are in action. That includes a rare Wednesday evening game, Montreal and Ottawa, playing a game on the same night this episode premieres. Might already be done, depending on when you're watching. Coming up on the show tonight, Adam and Daniel ready to roll with another spirited disc debate. And Matt Smith has Carolina's Suraj Madiraju in the hot seat for a brand new Upline and Out of Bounds. But first, a quick recap of the week that was in the AUDL. It is, of course, a beautiful night for a toss. You're watching AUDL Weekly on AUDL.tv, so stick around. All right, welcome back. Memorial Day weekend, always a fun time for Ultimate between the AUDL landscape and obviously college nationals. Lots of good stuff from coast to coast. It was an 8-game weekend in the league, and as I wrote about yesterday in the online version of the Tuesday Toss, road teams won 6 of the 8 games this past weekend. 2 of those wins coming from the New York Empire, who are looking every bit like the championship weekend contender we expected them to be. Brilliant offense, dynamic defense, and not much doubt for New York as they win in Montreal 22-18, and then one night later, on the second night of a back-to-back, dominate Ottawa 30-18. Huge weekends for Ryan Osgar, Ben Yott, Jack Williams, Jeff Babbitt. Basically all the Empire stars continued to shine as New York improved to 6-0 on the season. The DC Breeze also went to Canada and escaped Toronto with a wild 27-26 win. Rush had a 2-goal lead early in the fourth in the upset bid, but DC's D-line got the breaks when they needed them as the Breeze improved to 3-1. Best game of the weekend had to be the clash of unbeatens in Colorado. Home opener for the Summit franchise was no easy task against the dynamic Salt Lake Shred, and for much of the night it looked like the Shred were the better team. But Colorado rallied from 3 down in the fourth, deliver an exhilarating 21-20 comeback victory to their home fans in Denver. The Summit stay undefeated at 3-0. The Shred suffer their first loss. They are now 3-1. Elsewhere in the West, Seattle earned its first win of the season. They taught the Portland team a pretty valuable lesson. 26-18 was the final underneath the Space Needle at Memorial Stadium. Nitro learning that if you travel in this league without some key players, you can be humbled pretty darn quick. In the Central Division, Minnesota used a big second half to roll past the Radicals at Breese-Stevens Field. 19-16 was the final, and frankly, it did not feel that close despite being tied at halftime. That's how good the wind chill were in the second half. In Detroit, the Mechanix were tied early in the fourth quarter with Indianapolis, and that's progress for a team that entered the night on a 53-game losing streak. But that streak did survive, as did the AlleyCats, as they win at 23-19, Indy to 3-1, Detroit to 0-4, and 0-54 since that win over Chicago in late April 2017. It's wild to say each and every time I say it. Also this weekend, interdivisional action down in Florida with Pittsburgh and Tampa colliding in an old Atlantic Division clash. Cannons had the lead through 3, but the Thunderbirds brought the pain in the fourth. A 7-1 run to win it 24-19. Pittsburgh moves to 2-3 with a chance to get back to the 500 mark if they can beat Madison at home this Friday night. Should be a good game in Pittsburgh on Friday, Radicals and Thunderbirds. All right, we're skipping Coach's Corner this week, so Adam and Daniel are next with a tantalizing edition of Toss Up as we continue here on AUDL Weekly. Welcome back to AUDL Weekly. It's time for Toss Up as we bring in Adam Ruffner and Daniel Cohen. Gentlemen, good to see you. You can listen to Adam and Daniel on the Swing Pass podcast. Let's jump in. Topic number one, looking ahead to this coming Saturday. Adam, we'll start with you. It's a simple question. Who you got this Saturday night in Philadelphia? The Glory or the Phoenix?
You know, all due respect to Boston, who won the first meeting between these two teams in week one through an offensive showcase led by Orion Cable, Cole Davis-Brand and company. I think the Phoenix team that they're going to face this weekend is going to be different. Philly's been playing really well on defense the past few weeks. It feels like they have a size and a system right now that caters really well to a lot of the bigger playmakers in the East Division. And I expect the Phoenix to show out really well this weekend. I'm going to take them. I'm going to keep riding the Phoenix 2-game winning streak that they're coming off of after going through Canada. I think James Pollard and Greg Martin are playing out of their minds for this Phoenix offense and can't be slowed down right now. I'm pushing a few more chips in on Phoenix right now in the East.
Daniel, huge game in the East Division playoff race. Who you got, Boston or Philly?
I'm going to agree and take Philly. I just don't trust Boston on the road yet. We've seen pretty different teams when Boston's been playing at home versus on the road. Really, their road trip that we saw was them going up to Canada, and it was a severely depleted roster. They really just did not look great, losing both those games to Ottawa and Montreal. I think Philly is also on this upward trajectory. Like Adam said, they have momentum coming off their own 2-game road trip win in Canada. I like the way their handlers are playing too. Alex Thorne, Jordan Ryan, they seem to have a lot more balance in the offense this year. Also, Boston's roster, right now, not rostered are Tanner Johnson, Jeff Graham. If they're missing any of those top guys offensively, I think they struggle to turn this game into the same shootout that we saw in week one. So I just worry a bit about Boston's roster consistency, and I agree with Adam. I like the Philly momentum right now, so I'm taking Philly.
Those are fair concerns. And the one thing you didn't mention, which is notable, is Boston is playing at DC on Friday and then at Philly on Saturday. So that's another hurdle for the Glory to overcome. But as you said, Boston did win the first matchup back in week one. All right, Daniel, topic number two, similar question. Who you got this Saturday night in Austin, Texas? The defending champion Flyers or the hometown Soul?
Man, I would love to pick the Soul again. I picked them last time when they went to Carolina. They were so close. They hung with the Flyers for so much of that game. A good 3.5 quarters.
Gonna undercut them.
Like even with the few Carolina miscues at the start of the game, Austin recorded, I think, 3 breaks in that first quarter. It never seems to matter. Carolina just finds their rhythm later. They straighten things out on offense. That was very much like a pieced together Carolina offense too that didn't have much experience. Never seems to matter. I'm going to take Carolina. I think they're at another level. Really, when you look at turnovers, fewer than 20 turnovers in their last 20 games dating back to 2019. Austin has been a lot more consistent this year, but they're like just starting to get under that 20 turnover mark. Carolina's really down around like 10 to 15 most games. They actually have 13 or fewer turnovers in 3 of 4 games this season. So it's really it's a difference of a few turnovers, but until I see that level of play from Austin that we're seeing from Carolina, New York, DC, Atlanta, I'm gonna favor Carolina even in a tough road game.
Adam.
I mean, Austin took a lead the last time they played. They had a doubleheader that they had to worry about. Carolina is going to be coming in the second game of a back-to-back. They're beat up. It's one of the things that we haven't talked much about with this Flyers team is that they are struggling with a little bit of injuries and a little bit of lineup and rotational adjustments.
Doesn't matter.
Let's see what happens when you go down and play in Texas Heat in back-to-back days. I'm just saying, I think that this is an opportune time for Austin to right the mistakes that they had the other week. It's really hard to beat teams twice in a row. I think the Souls showed that they can come out and punch the Flyers a bit, and I think that they'll have a little bit more luck at home this weekend. I expect the Soul to maybe get this victory and put themselves a little bit back in the discussion of that vicious 2-seed playoff race in the South Division.
I hope you're right.
I expect the Soul to maybe get this victory. Does that mean you're taking Austin, Adam?
I would love to see Austin win this game. I just don't think they will.
Carolina. Turn his mic off.
I'm keeping it on.
I am not Tony Reale. I don't have a mute button. I don't think I at the moment.
I'm choosing both. I hope both teams win.
Well,
I'm not
Daniel
choosing both.
All right.
It's
Topic
not even
number
an
3.
edge.
If you guys want to put your hair on the line for the Austin Carolina game, that would be wonderful.
He already chickened out with Detroit in the preseason about that.
There was never going to be a hair bet on Detroit. There was never going to be a hair bet on Detroit.
He wanted it so bad against Pittsburgh, so bad.
All right.
They were close.
Rare 3-way toss-up. Adam, which winless team that's playing at home keeps it the closest this weekend? You have 3 choices: Detroit versus Chicago, Tampa versus Atlanta, or Dallas versus Carolina.
Again, I'm going to go with the Texas team. I think Dallas is going to be returning and debuting a few of their captains this week. They have Kaplan Maurer rostered. I think they're going to be getting a couple of collegiate players too. Dallas, I think, is still going to be unstructured. I don't expect them to win against the Flyers, but I think that they can present a few matchup problems with a few of their defenders. Alec Wilson-Holiday has been playing really well for them in space. Watson has been playing really well for them in space. They have big playmakers. It's just a matter of consistency and throwing depth for this Dallas team. And I don't expect that to do particularly well against the Flyers, but I think that they're going to run Carolina a bit, and I'm interested to see if they can maybe get Carolina a little bit outside of their comfort zone with how big and athletic this Legion team is.
Alrighty. Daniel?
I'm not quite ready to drop Dallas into the tier of Detroit and Tampa. So I'm going to take Dallas. Let's pay some respect to the team that beat the Flyers in 3 straight South Division championship games from 2017 to 2019. A handful of those players still on the roster. Maybe they hit a second gear against this Carolina team that probably just assumes that they're way better than Dallas at this point. It's still a road trip for them. I respect Dallas to the point that I think they can hang with Carolina for a bit longer than I would expect Tampa or Detroit to hang with their opponents this week. So give me Dallas. They also haven't lost by double digits yet this season. Like, they're not getting blown out of games. So I'm fairly confident that they can keep this game relatively close as far as home underdogs go.
Let's flip the question. Who loses by the biggest margin, Detroit versus Chicago or Tampa versus Atlanta?
I think Detroit.
I think Tampa.
I think Chicago is just going to stomp them.
Tampa lost by, 14 the last time they played Atlanta?
12, I think.
Yeah.
But yeah, they struggled.
They had
one
lead
good
at the end
quarter.
of the first. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Moving on. Topic number 4. Daniel, 1 month in, will the 2022 AUDL MVP come from the New York Empire or one of the 24 other teams?
It's got to be. At this point, it's got to be the Empire. I think Ryan Osgar is the leading MVP candidate right now in my mind, leading the league in scores. So many assists, 33 assists, 16 goals already. He's only played half of his season so far. But what stands out to me is the completion percentage number, 98% completion percentage, 4 throwaways on the entire season, which is actually the same number as Jack Williams. He has leveled up his game to a completely other level this season than he was playing at last year, just limiting turnovers and still maintaining the same aggressiveness he always has. And then Ben Yot, leading the league in goals, leading the league in receiving yards, no surprise there. Top 10 in assists. It feels like it's got to be one of those guys at this point, and I just expect New York to continue their trajectory, potentially go undefeated this season. It feels like the best team, the best player on the best team is going to be the MVP this year.
Adam, you got the Empire of the field.
I mean, right now I'm taking Ryan Osgar, but there's still so much Ultimate to play, and I still think there's a lot of compelling cases elsewhere. I mean, you look at how Jordan Kerr is playing right now for the Salt Lake team, and especially when they lose a couple of their offensive components, and he still goes out and has an 8-assist game against Colorado in the loss. And then you look on the other side of the disc from him, Jay Fruit and John Nethercutt have been no slouches for an expansion team out there either. Leandro Marks for Portland, if they can somehow get some kind of depth and consistency to their play to back up the kind of offensive numbers he's putting up right now. I mean, Pavel Giannis still has 10 games to go for Chicago, and they're looking to defend their divisional title. I still think that there's a lot of candidates that deserve recognition and flowers yet, but right now, it appears like Ryan Osgar is the 2022 MVP.
And it's interesting because a team like the Empire are halfway through their season. A team like Chicago has played 2 of their 12 games. So there's that unevenness in where we are from team to team. But I mean, it's hard to disagree with what Oscar has done. The crazy thing is, like, I thought Oscar was the weak link of their O-line in that week 1 game against DC. He had a couple turns, a drop and a throwaway, and he had a couple other throws that were just off that like Benyat bailed him out on. And I mean, I talked to Ryan about that after the game, and he wasn't worried, and he was right because they've looked unbelievable over the past 4 weeks. All right, Adam and Daniel, thanks for your time. As always, you can hear Adam and Daniel on the Swing Pass Pod, wherever you get your podcasts. Coming up next, Matt Smith's Upline and Out of Bounds. But first, it's another Cohen's Cut.
What's up, AUDL fans? Daniel Cohen here with this week's Cohen's Cut. Today we're going to be looking at the Carolina Flyers handler defense and how playing help defense in the backfield can lead to turnovers. So the Flyers have a strong core of handler defenders that can all shut down their individual matchups. But their lives are made easier by the Flyers' system of playing help defense in the handler space. Using a combination of handler switches and poaches, this group excels at maintaining backfield pressure and forcing handlers into uncomfortable spots. In this sequence, we see Atlanta's John Stubbs with the disc on the far sideline. He looks off the first upline cut to Tanner Robinson, who's guarded by Elijah Long. As Robinson clears out of the backfield, watch how Long doesn't go with him. Instead, he lingers in the upline space, hoping to take away that space as a follow-up cut or get the block if the disc is forced there anyway. He's fine leaving Robinson because of that help defense mentality throughout the Flyers' D-line. He's got 3 defenders behind him that could all pick up Robinson if he were to suddenly cut deep or become an active threat. Now the next active cutter is Austin Taylor, who's guarded by Carolina's Eric Taylor. Eric tightens up his coverage when it's clear Austin is the only immediate option left in the backfield. Now because Eric trusts his teammates to help if Austin moves upfield, this allows him to commit hard to stopping the swing in the backfield, where he's basically on an island. So his coverage forces Austin to cut up line, into the same space that Robinson just tried. But Long is there waiting, and even his teammate Alex Davis has started coming off the front of the stack anticipating that upline throw. So now you have 2 help defenders closing in, while Eric Taylor committed to stopping the swing, so Atlanta is just completely trapped. Long runs through for the block, and because Davis also recognized the play, the counterattack is off running with a 3-on-1 advantage. 3 throws after he gets the block, Elijah Long catches the disc in the end zone for what would end up being the game-winning goal. Thanks for watching, and be sure to join me next time for another Cohen's Cut.
What's up, AUDL world? Welcome to another episode of Upline and Out of Bounds. I am joined today by a division rival, a young up-and-comer in this league, great defensive player out of North Carolina, Mr. Suraj Madiraju. How's it going, Suraj?
Pretty good. Thanks for having me on the show.
Yeah, happy to have you on and excited for the audience to get to know you a little better. So with that, we're just going to jump right into the intro. So first question for you, Suraj, hometown.
I was born in Detroit, but I'm from Charlotte since I was 1 year old.
Very cool. Current age?
I am 24.
Nice. College, if you attended it, which college did you attend? And if so, what was your degree or major in?
I went to UNC Chapel Hill, played Darkside there. I currently coach Darkside also, and my major was computer science, and I have a minor in anthropology.
Very interesting. And what's your current occupation, career path? You putting that to use? You find something else? What are you up to these days?
So my main job, I guess, is I'm a software consultant, but the hours are pretty flexible, and eventually I want to become a teacher. So right now I am also babysitting just to get it's fun to be around kids. I really like kids. So when I'm not doing software engineering, I am babysitting. So those are my two jobs other than coaching and playing Frisbee.
All right. Yeah, very cool. Good luck with that moving forward, getting into teaching. That'll be great. We're going to switch it over to Ultimate a little bit. So current position on the field.
I am a defender, so I'm pretty much always on the D line unless we get broken a few times, then I get out there. And then I would say offensively, it's hard to answer because I kind of cut and handle, so maybe I'll say hybrid. I know it's a cop-out, but D-line hybrid. And I usually guard other teams' hybrids or handlers, but I have guarded cutters when pretty versatile. Pretty much just do whatever they need me to do, I guess. It's my job. Very
cool. Absolutely. And why don't you fill everybody in with your ultimate origin story?
So most people think I started out in college, but actually, I don't know exactly when in my senior year of high school, but let's say middle end, my calculus teacher was the ultimate Frisbee coach at my high school. And he was like, hey, we have a 5v5 tournament and we only have 4 people going. So please, anyone who can come out, come out. So I did, and this was in Charlotte, and this was 2015-ish time, and Charlotte Ultimate wasn't as developed, so I went to one thing, or a few things, and got named an All-Star. So fun fact, one of my first playing experiences was actually in an AUDL halftime show, because the Charlotte Flight and Raleigh Flyers then played, and we did an All-Star halftime kind of thing. So it's kind of a little full circle moment now that I'm on the Flyers, but that was how I started. And then most of my career, because with COVID we got extra years, so I actually just finished playing Darkside, so I had 6.5 years on Darkside, which is a long time. But yeah, that's how I got into Ultimate.
Yeah, that's awesome. And from the halftime show all the way to the main stage, last question here, what's your favorite AUDL moment so far in the year and a half you've been in it?
Ooh, favorite moment. I think beating Chicago last year at championship weekend. I think for me, I like winning championships in the finals is great, but I think getting that opportunity, winning semis always feels the best to me in the moment, because it's you get that opportunity to get to that last game, extend your season as long as possible with that with that group of people, because I'm never going to play with that group of people again. And so that validation of winning semis and getting to the finals felt really, really good to me.
Yeah, very cool answer. I like to hear that. Well, now that the audience knows you a little better, we're going to jump into today's game, and today's game is...
Great.
Ooh, it's a classic on the show. GOATs, greatest of all time.
GOATs.
I'm going to give you a category, and you're going to tell me who, what, when, where, what, you think is the greatest of all time in that category, and why. So, first one here. You told me you're into anime, so give me your greatest of all time anime series.
Anime. I will go Attack on Titan right now. It's my go-to.
All right. Starting off strong, assertive, Attack on Titan. Next one here. You're a bit of a chess player, or you were, is what I've heard. So greatest of all time, chess player.
I'm going to go Mikhail Tal. I don't actually think he's the best player of all time, but he's the greatest of all time because I think he's the most fun. He had a super aggressive style back in the day. But if you're going to say best of all time, I'll say Magnus Carlsen. So one of those two, take your pick.
All right. I'm learning me something on this show, which I always love. A couple more here. Greatest of all time, horror movie that is also a book.
horror movie that is also a book. I'm going to be honest, I can only name one off the top of my head, so I'm going to go The Shining. I haven't read any horror books, to be honest. I do like horror movies a lot, but The Shining is the only one that I know that I have seen that has both.
All right, yeah, Shining. I'm a Hannibal guy, so that's what I was thinking, but Shining is a good one and a classic.
Mm-hmm.
All right, last one here is greatest of all time mobile game. Mobile game. Okay, so I'm stuck between two right now. Mm-hmm. So I actually have the world record in Flippy Bird, which is like a Flappy Bird knockoff. And I have it's just basically Flappy Bird, but they took down Flappy Bird, so then they made Flippy Bird. And my world record is like 1,100 something, which is like around half an hour of playing, like straight. So I have to give that an honorary mention, but I'm also really, really into Super Auto Pets right now. And they just came out with an expansion pack, and like they have a weekly pack every week now. So I'm gonna go greatest of all time mobile game is Super Auto Pets, but the greatest of all time Flippy Bird player is me. So I'll toss that out there for mobile games. Well, that's awesome. I did not know I was in the presence of such greatness. I would love to talk further, but unfortunately we are out of time for today. Before we get out of here though, any last shout outs you want to give?
Yeah, I'm going to shout out my roommate, Alex Davis, fastest man in Ultimate. You can catch him on any Flyers game on the O-line.
All right, well, very cool. I know I will be looking and following intently when y'all play the Austin Soul in the upcoming Game of the Week on Saturday. But for now, back to Evan.
Great stuff, Matt. Good to hear from Suraj. We'll be heading to Texas this weekend as the Flyers make their first trip to the Lone Star State since 2019. Flyers are 4-6 all-time playing in Texas, 3-2 at Austin, 1-4 at Dallas. Our Fox Sports Game of the Week this Saturday is Carolina and Austin in the Texas Capitol. Hope you'll join us for that. For now, though, my thanks to everyone who helped put this show together tonight. Thanks to Adam Ruffner and Daniel Cohen. Thanks to Matt Smith and Suraj Madiraju. Thanks also to Luke Johnson, our editor extraordinaire. And a quick reminder, make sure you're checking out AUDL.tv each and every week for bonus content from the show, particularly additional Upline and Out of Bounds material from Matt Smith and his weekly guest. But for now, Evan Lepler saying thank you for watching. Enjoy the massive AUDL slate that's on tap this weekend. And I'll talk to you right back here next Wednesday.